On to Orcs turn 2. We have no animosity this turn, which is great. The Squigs charge the Doom Wheel, as you can see in this picture. They get it in the flank as the Doom Wheel's front is into my Goblin Wolf Chariot, so maybe that was a good thing after all. Remember that Doom Wheel is not wounded, but I'm pretty sure that I can get, with enough Squig attacks, I can kill it Strength 5 to Toughness 6, and I'll negate most of the armor save. Over here, I charge into the Warp Fire Thrower with my Boar Chariot that's left alive. Now remember, it needed like a 10 to hit the Black Orcs last turn, so it needs a 10 to hit this Boar Chariot. So rather than attempt to hit them and have an equal chance of misfiring, it flees, and I barely redirect into the slaves, and that's okay because then my Black Orcs also jump on the Warlock Engineer. This way I'm going to preserve my Black Orcs by sacrificing that Boar Chariot, and I think that that's probably a good trade. Plus I might actually get lucky and break the Unbreakable Slaves. Now shooting and magic are pretty uneventful. I give poison to the Chariot, and shooting I do a wound to the Doom Wheel with the Aura Boys. I do 2 wounds to the Bonebreaker, who then drinks his calm. In combat, the Black Orcs of course totally destroy the Warlock Engineer and move forward a little bit, and the Chariot, as you can see, kills 6 slaves who hold their leadership 10 obviously, but the good thing is the Warp Fire Thrower is fleeing, so it can't shoot me next turn, which is what I wanted. And in the Doom Wheel combat, you can see that the Squigs have destroyed it. It has destroyed my Chariot, and we have pursued up right in front of Grey Group with the Plague Priest. So guess what's going to happen next turn? This is Skaven turn 3. I only have a couple pictures, but we'll work with that. Charges, the Grey Group gets into the Squigs. Storm Vermin and a Doomflayer get into the Savage Orcs. The Doom Wheel moves through the river. Doesn't take a dangerous terrain test, which makes me sad. And there's generally shuffling around trying to get on my flanks. In Magic, he Warp Lightnings and kills a Black Orc. And he Total Powers a Skitter Leap, which moves an Engineer to the back by my War Machines, and then he drains the rest of his dice with the Miscast. In shooting, he shoots a cannon at the Slave Chariot combat. He kills a couple slaves, takes a wound off the Chariot, nothing real big. And in combat, you can see here the Squigs have won. They won by like 5. The Clan Rats with the Plague Priest still were steadfast on a 7 or 8, but they failed and ran and got run down. And here in the Storm Vermin combat, you can see the Savages went absolutely bonkers. They killed 19. The BSB challenged the Bonebreaker guy. We traded wounds on each other, but they ran away, and I was unable to catch them. And the Chariot and Slave combat holds. Orcs turn 3 was looking really great for the Orcs at first. I used my Savages to charge his Storm Vermin, who kept fleeing, obviously, and they passed over his General's unit, who then failed panic and ran off the board and ran threw some units off the board, but then we realized, or I should say I realized, and in a bout of good sportsmanship that I came to regret, I realized I had not yet rolled animosity for the Savage Orcs, and I said, well, you know, you've got a 1 in 36 chance. I have to roll a 1 and then another 1 because they are the closest unit that I can charge, so even if I roll a 1 and then a 2 through 6, I'm still going to charge them. And of course, up came the double 1, so we retroacted everything. We put the Storm Vermin back where they were, we put the General's unit back where they were, and my Savages stayed there, and after just giving me a great showing last turn, they pretty much not lost me the game, but they didn't help at all this turn, which was really frustrating. In this first picture you can see I charge Grimgore's units, the Immortals, into the Slaves. The Chariot is still there on 1 wound, so take that, Slaves. The ever-victorious Squig herd charges into the Warp Lightning Cannon with the Ferrari engine, and that's going to be predictably destructive. And for the rest of the turn, Magic doesn't really do a whole lot. I poison the Black Orcs again. In shooting, I fail to wound the Doom Wheel with my Aura Boys. My Doom Diver does a wound to the Bonebreaker. And my Mangler Squigs jump around, you know, and in combat, I kill the Warp Lightning, and also the slaves, of course, hold their leadership 10. I don't kill enough. Grimgore kills probably 5 by himself. I use great axes because I'm thinking that at this point the help hit might be coming in to support. He doesn't, but he learns that I have the flaming banner this time, so the help hit's not coming anywhere near me still. And so maybe it was a bad idea to use the great weapons. I'm getting less kills that way, but I'm thinking, you know what? Strength 6 is better than Strength 4 in the next couple rounds. I knew I wasn't going to break them in this first round anyway. In Skaven turn 4, I'm kicking the Savages again. They're getting double charged here. You can see by purple group and red group. And so really they should have run down them Storm Vermin. And you can also see here in this picture that the Doomflayer and the Storm Vermin have rallied, and so that's going to suck. At least I get a turn in between there. The Doomwheel goes charging right on into the Aura boys, who are sad that they don't get a stand and shoot. I'm hopeful. I think I've got 8 or 12 attacks. I'm really hoping that I can plink some wounds off of that, and I'm actually up by 3. I got 2 ranks and a standard, and he's got a charge, so I'm hoping I'm up by 2. I'm hoping that I can win that just based on static combat res. I can get a wound or 2, and it doesn't do too terrible much to me. Over here you can see the Globadiers have rallied, and he congos them so that I can't get by them with my squigs. I'm going to hit them, that front model, and have a long way to overrun after I kill them. So that was probably a pretty good play on his part. Otherwise I might have been able to charge into the Storm Vermin, into the butt, and that really would have not been good, as he then wouldn't be able to get them into the Savage Orc combat with overwhelming force like he wants to. Magic doesn't do a whole lot. I dispel a Warp Lightning on my last Mangler Squig. He Warp Lightnings the Black Orcs and does a wound, or excuse me, no, he wounds the Engineer and loses a level because he total powers it, and then he rolls the 1 for the wound. So and then with his last dice he total powers Death Frenzy on the red group that are fighting the Savage Orcs, and I'm getting a little scared now. In shooting, he doesn't do anything really. He kills 1 archer, and that's pretty much it for shooting. And then in close combat, from this picture, you can see the slaves finally killed the chariot, who had 1 wound left, and they are fighting the Black Orcs. They're cornered in. And of course, after the Immortals win, they reform to get more models into combat like so. The Doomwheel kills 4 of my Aura boys, who, even though they hit 8 times, can't roll a 6, and so they're steadfast on like a 6, I want to say, or maybe a 5. They don't make it. They are run down by the Doomwheel. And finally, the Savages open up another can. They kill 16 in total. You can see just the decimation that's happened, and both of those units hold on a reroll because I think they're stubborn, and I think the one in the front isn't stubborn, but they did manage to hold somehow. They had to be steadfast. Anyway. Orc and Goblin turn 4. My squigs get animosity, and I'm really pissed. I'm thinking they're going to fail to charge the Globadiers, but they actually are forced to charge the Globadiers, which is fine. That's what I wanted to do. A Globadier tries to stand and shoot, but instead he kills himself. In close combat, or rather in Magic, I poison the Savages since they're still fighting on 2 sides, and I Itchy Nuisance red group and rolled a big 5. So red group that has Death Frenzy now is initiative 1 and movement 1. So I'm actually going to be able to reduce attacks back by throwing attacks on them first, which is excellent. I love that spell. Every game I play with the little Wog, I love it more and more and more. Yep. And in shooting, I drop a rock right on top of the Abomination, and I wound it 5 times. So random dice rolls are doing great. And as you can see from this picture, the squigs totally wipe out the Globadiers and fail to overrun into the butt of the Storm Vermin, but it's okay. I think they need like a 10 or something. It was pretty far. Over here, the Black Orcs do quite a number on the slaves. They're still barely steadfast, so they hang on. Grimgore's been fluffing some attacks, even with his Always Strike First reroll and stuff. But, whatever. Oh, my notes actually say that was a 3-up, so I guess they got either they got the reroll or they got lucky, but they held on a 3, so that's kind of annoying. And in this picture here, you can see the outcome. I wiped out red group and reformed to face purple group. Yes, I wiped out red group. I reformed to face purple group. They just didn't have anything. I guess they might have fled. Red group might have fled. But and you can see my Mangler here is in front of the storm vermin, and we had a funny question about that because it's distributed as impact hit or as shooting. We didn't know how that worked with a unit and a model who didn't get look out, sir, because to move past the mangler, his guy on the bone breaker is going to have to touch the mangler if it wants to charge, and so we were unsure that whether or not he was going to actually whether I could direct all my attacks at the mangler or not, because he was going to take 3d6 strength 6, and I was like, well, I really would rather kill the guy on the bone breaker than any of the storm vermin. I'm not scared of the storm vermin. So we 4-upped it. We didn't know how that worked. If you have an idea, let us know in the comments. We 4-upped it, and I won it, so if he charges, I'm going to kill his guy on the bone breaker pretty much. And this is just a picture of what the rest of the board looks like. You can see the A-bomb has 1 wound left. You can see the giant rats kind of staring, trying to get in my flank with the black orcs. You can see some slaves over here, and you can see the cannon. So this flank is looking kind of bad. I just have to have I have to hope that the immortals can hold off this entire flank, and I'm hoping that it works. Moving quickly towards the end, the Skaven turn 5, the giant rats charge. They are in the front arc, so that's not going to go very well for them. The A-bomb continues its slow advance and fails to get into the flank of the squigs. The storm vermin do make the charge in. The bone breaker does die. The Doomflayer and the storm vermin are in the flank of my savage orcs, and that's not. I'm actually pretty okay with that. I think that that's still going to work well. I'm going to try and take care of them handily. The engineer that skitter leaped a couple turns ago finally charges on into combat and thinks that he can take some goblins, so he's going to hold up some shooting. And actually, in shooting, his cannon manages to kill the rock lava, so I'm down shooting for the rest of the game. In combat, the savage orcs only kill 10 models, so they're starting to slow down, but they do enough wounds to panic. They kill the Doomflayer, they panic off the storm vermin again, so the storm vermin are really kind of sad, but red group holds around. The black orcs break the slaves and move into more combat with the giant rats, which is not going to go well for the giant rats next turn. And annoyingly enough, the engineer kills the doom diver. I don't think he kills them. I think he runs them off or something. I don't know. He may just kill them and we play it wrong, but whatever. He is successful and I have no more shooting now. So in my turn 5, pretty much what I do is cast poison on the savages again. They, as you can see, they kill a bunch ton of red, or purple rather, and purple runs away and the savages chase them but fail to run them down. The squigs charge into the storm vermin, who run away. We try to redirect into the general's unit there, but we fail, so we just have to keep moving, and that's going to suck because we're going to get hit by the A-bomb. And DOS Immortals wipe out the giant rat, or make the giant rats flee and reform. We can see the general's unit if he doesn't move. So turn 6 comes around, and he moves them behind the monolith, so I can't see them. He charges with, or rather he compulsories the A-bomb into the squigs, and the squigs get destroyed. So at the end of the game, we both are contesting the ruins, or the monolith, and so it's a tie, because I can't get to him to wipe that unit out. I have no shooting, none of my magic is destructive, and I can't see him with anything. So it's a tie game. So things I learned from the game. 1, I really have to figure out a way to deal with engineers. 2, shooting sucks, but I need to grow up. I really whined a lot through this one, through the first 2 turns when it was pretty much remove models and fail charges. So I need to grow up and just deal with that, because this was actually a really good Skaven list, I think. It was a pretty hard-fought game. 2, Savage Orcs are ridiculous, and I should keep taking them. 3, for 270 points, that unit of Night Goblin Squig Herd was ridiculous, and I'm going to keep taking that, and I might even try to shell out some cash and buy another unit, because that is just a ridiculous flank unit for pretty cheap. 3 is I love rolling hits on my dice. I love dropping rocks on stuff. And 4, really, I've already touched on this one, is really the Little Wog is fast becoming my favorite lore of the 2. I can't give up on Big Wog because of Hand of Gork, but really, ultimately, for the buff spells, I love the Little Wog more. So I'm going to start taking more Goblin Shaman. And that's the game. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, subscribe or leave us a comment or whatever, and hopefully I'll get some more games up soon.